So I've been fishing now for over 40 years. I know that's hard to believe, but it's true. I've got pictures of me as just a little baby holding fish, and I've been fishing now hard in Texas for about over a decade. And I still see people making the same 5 mistakes that are wrecking trips, even for guys who know what they're doing. They're going out week after week, and they're just not getting the results they want. And it's because normally it's because of one of these 5 things. So if you can fix one of these 5 things, you're guaranteed to get on more fish this weekend. Let's get to it. But before we do, head over to wegofishing.store. Wegofishing.store. Right now, we are running a promotion for our popping corks. 20% off your order of $14 or more. These popping corks are doing excellent. I know that it's hard to trust a new product. Everybody's got the next best thing, and I know that. But these are absolutely working so well. I've been posting some different reports from people that have been using them on our channel, so check those out. But right now, you can get them 20% off your order of $14 or more over at wegofishing.store. They make for great stocking stuffers and a great addition to your tackle box too, so check that out. First mistake that I see people make pretty routinely is they're fishing the same spot for more than 20 to 30 minutes when it's a dead spot. We all know that fish have tails. We all know the 90-10 rule. We all know that fish are hanging in specific areas of the water. And so you see people that are sitting there and they're fishing the same spot and they're not moving. And they're fishing it, and they're fishing it, and they're fishing it, and they're not getting any results. So here's a little tip. Here's something I would do that maybe will help you out, keep you honest about fishing spots where there's just no activity, nothing's going on. Set a timer on your phone. Just simply set a timer on your phone. Set it for like 20, 30 minutes. And if you haven't gotten anything in that spot, move spots, change spots, move down a little bit, whatever it might be. But it's not that the fish are not in the water, and it may not even be your spot. It just may be, hey, the fish aren't hitting in that area today, and so pick up and move. And that's something I see anglers are just not willing to do for whatever reason. They forget that fish have tails, I guess. I'm not really sure. And they say, no, this spot it produced last week, so it's going to produce again this week. And it just doesn't work that way. So set a timer on your phone. If you're not getting any bites, 20 to 30 minutes, especially if you're using live bait, just not getting them or you're getting the little bait stealers, 20 to 30 minutes, pick up, move, and go somewhere else. And that'll help you catch more fish this weekend. The second mistake, and I think I'm guilty of this as well if you watch our videos, although I'm not as bad as some, but one of them is setting a hook. Like on every time you set that hook, you're setting it like you're on a bass fishing show, and you're just rearing back with everything you have and just pulling as hard as you can. One of the things that does is it actually can cause you to lose fish because you can actually pull the bait right out of the fish's mouth or even rip the lips right off a fish. I've seen this happen. So whether you're using live bait or plastics, it's not about how hard you set the hook, it's about how firm you set the hook. It's not even normally about how quick you set the hook. A lot of times you can just simply lift up and lean back and reel, especially if you're using circle hooks or tail hooks. That hook is going to slide right into the side of the fish's mouth. Jig heads are the same way. And so a lot of times I see guys they're just setting the hook way too hard when they really don't need to. And I know it's exciting. I know we get all fired up, we get that bite and we want to set that hook. But make sure that you're not doing it so hard that it's actually causing you to lose fish. You fix that, you're gonna catch more fish this weekend. A third one that may be kind of something you don't think about, but it's actually the line size. People tend to think that if they use lighter line, they get more bites. I think they think that because maybe the feel of it, or maybe they think I can feel it better or something like that, but it's just not the case. Matter of fact, on inshore fishing, I use 20-pound test, sometimes even 12-pound test. I don't really go over 20. I know some guys that fish a lot of heavy structure, they do use heavier braid than that, but I use 20-pound braid with 20-pound leader, and I do just fine with that. I don't get break-offs. Most of the fish that we're fishing for are going to be well under that size anyway, and so it's really not going to be a problem. And I would definitely say check out the braid that you're using, or the fishing line, because if you think, well, I'm using light lines, I can fish it more, and maybe I can get more bites that way, but it just doesn't work that way, especially if you're using leader line, because that fluorocarbon or that leader line material is really designed so that the fish can't see that last little bit of your line. So if you're fishing too heavy of line, you might think that's a problem, but it's really not, unless you're fishing really heavy structure. But I would say 20-pound braid to 20-pound mono, that's going to serve you really, really well. Some people even go to 12. But make sure that you are checking out the line size you're using, because using the wrong line size, especially if you're using the lighter side, is gonna cost you fish. And you say, well, the fish I'm fishing for, they're not 20 pounds, so why do I need 20-pound test? Some of it's just fightability. You need to be able to pull that fish out of the structure. You need to be able to control that fish. And I know I see the YouTube guys on there and they're using these ultralight lines and they're using these ultralight rods, and that's all for the cameras. If you really just want to get the fish in the boat, make sure you're using a proper line. Like I said, inshore fishing, a 20-pound test tends to do me pretty well. The fourth thing that I see people doing is packing up too quickly. And I know you say, but that's fishermen, right? We say we're gonna fish to the last bite. Well, some guys don't. They think it's getting a little bit dark and they say, oh, we're gonna pack it in, that's gonna be the end of it. But don't miss those last 30 minutes of the day, golden hour. That is a wonderful time to catch the biggest fish. Some of the biggest fish I've caught, and you see it in the pictures, some of the biggest fish I've caught have been right there at twilight where things are going down. Even our eyes aren't really as cued in as well. The fish's eyes, I think, also are not quite cued in as well. So don't pack in just as soon as the sun hits the trees. Wait it out a little bit more, because that's when the pigs turn on. That's when the big beasts come out to play, when it's just getting that little bit of twilight, because the bait, maybe they have a harder time seeing the predator fish, and the predator fish are able to cue in on their smell and on their sound and able to ambush them. So plan your day backwards. Look at your windows. It's not always the first part of the day is the best. Sometimes the middle of the day, sometimes the end of the day. Make sure you're planning your windows. And I tend to work backwards in my day, depending on how I'm planning. I tend to look at what's the farthest out I can go, and I work back from that. So I think ignoring those last 30 minutes of the day is a mistake. You fix that, you'll get on more fish this weekend. And the final one that I see, and this is just, I think this is just one of those lazy fisherman things, is fishing with rusty hooks or hooks that just aren't sharp. I see guys, I look at their lines, I'm just like, wow, that hook right there, that has seen some battle. And it is just time to change it out. Matter of fact, one of the things that I do, after each trip, I've got one right here, is I inspect my hooks. And if it's got too much rust on it, I just toss it and get another one. Sometimes I can get a little file out and I can sharpen it down a little bit if I think that the point isn't quite what it should be. But I see guys that are just neglecting their hooks and they're just not paying attention to them. And a sharp hook is going to make a lot of difference. It's going to be a lot easier to hook into that fish if that point is sharp. The other thing, especially when fishing live baits or cut baits, people forget, you got to make sure that tip is clear. And this goes even for fishing soft plastics. If that tip is not clear, you are going to miss hookups. And I see people doing that all the time with jigs. They bury their hook in too far, or even with live bait or cut bait, they'll even scales on it and things like that. And that is going to prevent hookups. So make sure you're paying attention to your hooks. Use sharp hooks. Invest in a cheap hook sharpener. They're just a few dollars, and you can just simply just do a quick sharpen on that, or replace it if it needs be. But make sure you have those sharp hooks. So that's it. Those are the 5 things, and even sometimes I find myself still doing, and every time I do my best to clean that up and make sure that I'm staying disciplined out there, make sure I'm paying attention to what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, because I want to make sure I give myself and anybody that's on my boat the best opportunities to catch those fish. So pick one this weekend and work on it. Let me know how it goes in the comments. I do want to hear from you. Let me know how it goes in the comments. Maybe something I didn't mention. Also, you say, hey, here's something. If you clean this up, this is going to get you some more tight lines as well. Leave me that in the comments as well. Don't forget, check out our promotion, wegofishing.store. Wegofishing.store for 20% off of your order, $14 or more. We'll keep that promotion running till the end of the year. Get your stocking stuffers, your Christmas presents, and get those tight lines with these popping corks. Work really well. And so I want to get those into your hands. 20% off your order, $14 or more. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Do my best to respond to every comment that we get. Even if I don't understand what you're talking about, I'll do my best to try and figure it out. So check that out in the comments section below. Until next time, may the fish be with you, tight lines, and God bless.